everybody. Happy hump day to you. Happy part 2 of a rag quilt panel, or using a panel for a rag quilt. And it also is a part 2 of the last week's Christmas Wednesday. So as you know, and you know, if you're catching this and you're new here and you're not sure what I'm talking about, last week we started utilizing a panel, a Christmas type panel that had gnomes for Christmas. And I mean, look, aren't they so cute? They are kissing under the mistletoe. I mean, you gotta love it. But we did the first part to that because there was so much information. I went ahead and split it into 2 weeks. And so for those of you who are new, you can watch last week's to get abreast of what it is that we are doing and how we are doing it. Now, this is quite big and I still need to wash it, and I've got some housekeeping to talk about before we finish this up. Okay, here's the housekeeping coming at you live. Not really live, I'm pre-recorded, right? So, if y'all who've been around for a little while know that our house was struck by lightning pretty severely, and they're finally in the process of fixing, and they have been for this past week. And now we're at a point where they're going to be shutting down electricity off and on quite a bit. So normally I do a Facebook Live after a video is posted. However, I'm not able to be on. It will be Wednesday, which this will air on Wednesday. So today I will not be able to do Facebook Live because we won't have power. Now, yeah, I could do a live event with my telephone, with my phone. However, I can't see the comments. So it doesn't do much good if I'm not talking with you. That's the whole point of the live, right? So we're going to tentatively schedule it for 3 p.m. Thursday. I'm told that we should have power on Thursday during what I will do for a live. If something goes awry and I'm not going to be able to have it, I will post on Facebook to let you know. And I promise to make it up to you, but I can't control this. This is the company fixing my electrical power challenges from our electrical storm. And it's quite entailed. Let me tell you, a lot more going on than we realized. So at any rate, I won't be on today at 3 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. And that also means I've been having to be very careful with recording, and my windows are getting smaller and smaller because there's a lot of banging, there's a lot of sawing, there's a whole lot of somethings. And it's becoming a little bit harder. So next week there will not be a video, and I went back and forth with this, but today solidified it when they were working, because there's just so much going on right now. Between the power and the noise, it's becoming increasingly more difficult, although we should be wrapping this up by the 1st of next week. So we'll be on board for the following week with a video. In the meantime, I just wanted to give you the heads up that was happening. So we are finishing part 2. If I can get a picture, because this is, I'm telling you guys, this is big. Now I will tell you, I mean, it's not that big. I gave you all the measurements. It's under 60 inches, that's for sure. But yeah, it still needs washed. All I've done is clip so far. So the ragging hasn't really taken effect. So that's kind of deterring from what this actually looks like. But once I do get it washed, I will definitely for sure post a picture, and I think I can do it here on YouTube also, so you don't have to try and find it if you're not a Facebooker. If you are a Facebooker, we are on Facebook, and the link for that is down below. We also have a private group, which is also in the description box on how you can find us. We'd love to have you there. However, once this is completely washed and ready, and I'll get a picture and be able to post it for you. I look forward to it because it's super cute, guys. And you're able to see, I mean, I keep trying to hold it up for you. the different parts because it is just absolutely darling. So that's the bottom of it, you know, and then we've got the middle, because I kind of I want you to be able to see where we're going, right? And I didn't want to just hang it up behind me right now. Now I'll hang it up behind me, and that's the top of it. For our live, when we go to do it, I'll make sure to put it on the ladder. But you know what, guys? This is a finished product once it's done. This is a finished quilt once it's done being washed and dried, because then the ragging begins. Now, something I didn't mention about it, the thing about rag quilts, guys, is that when you keep washing it, they get softer and softer, and the ragging gets better and better. So just from the first wash may not give you exactly what you're looking for, but the more you wash it, the better the rag quilt becomes. So I wanted to give an FYI, because I don't think I said that ever in the last 2 weeks that we've been doing this. But enough chit-chatting, enough with the housekeeping. We want to finish our rag quilt. So let's go ahead. Let me bring you into the next part where we left off from last week. It is what pieces were left of cutting and what to do with them. So it's just a couple more sections, and then we actually finish this up this week. So thank you guys again for stopping by. See you in just a minute. Okay, so next step, we're going to cut 6.5 inch strips. You're going to need 8 of them that are 13 inches long, so that's 6.5 by 13, 8 of those. And you'll need 8 of them that are 29 inches long, so that's 6.5 by 29 inches. And with each one of them, the reason you're doing 8 is you're going to make 4 of each of the sizes. Okay, so for instance, we have the 6.5 by 13. We put the right side facing the table. Then you'll take, oh, that's the other thing you'll need, sorry, I wasn't even thinking. You'll need 4 6.5 by 13 pieces of flannel and 4 6.5 by 29 inch piece of flannel, because you're going to make 4 of each of the sizes. So right sides down, okay, and then you'll take your flannel, put it on top, and then put your 6.5 by 13 on top of that. You're going to make 4 this size and 4 of the 6.5 by 29.5 inch sandwiches. I'm going to show you something that I did. I went ahead still with straight line quilting. I grabbed my painter's tape, and I also grabbed a ruler. And what I did, I decided to do 2 inches I'd sew in and 4 inches I'd sew in. Okay, so I lined up my ruler on the 2 inch mark going across, and I took my painter's tape, and I did this the same way with the longer ones too, just so you know. And you go ahead, line it up, give it a nice press so it stays on the fabric. I go ahead and flip it around, put it back down. Again, line up the 2 inch mark. Okay. Another piece of tape. Line it up on that 2 inch mark. And I took it to the sewing machine, and I stitched on this side of the tape and on this side of the tape, and it gave me 2 marks that have 2 inches apart, okay, or from the edge. Then you can use this same piece, so then you could just rip it off of the one you just finished sewing, both sides, line up your next one with the 2 inch border, take that piece that you have and line it up, and you only have to do it once. Give it a good press with your hands, and then this is ready to go to this sewing machine. Now, if you really want to pin, because you're going through all these layers, I would use a thicker pin and just try to stay out of the way of where you're sewing. So you might want to do the edges. And the short ones, they only really need about 3, I think, personally. That's all I did. The longer ones, I just made sure it was holding well enough so that it wouldn't shift. I go ahead and do both sides and then stitch and remove at the end. So you're going to make, again, 4 of these sandwiches that are 6.5 by 13. And you're going to, I don't know why I just unpinned that. Isn't that fun? And you're going to make 4 of the 6.5 by 29 inch. With the short ones, you're going to just simply make 2 of these where you take your 3 strip with 2 of the 6.5 by 13s, back sides together, and at this point they're both the same, so it really doesn't matter, but make sure your back sides are together. Once you get this one sewn on, you'll attach the other one. So what you will have is a strip like this, okay? You're going to make 2 of these. Then with the 29, you're going to do the exact same thing, but with the 7 strip. And once you have those done, let me pull this over. You're going to want, now you'll see, so here's my 6.5 by 29 inch, my 7 strip 5-inch squares that I sewed together, and then another 6.5 by 29 inch. I did that 2 times, and then you'll add it to the center block, okay? And I'm going to finish, and I'll show you the next step, but I'm going to go ahead to the sewing machine and put these 2 things together. I'll finish doing my quilting on this short strip, and then I'll make 2 of these strips, and then I will show you the next step. So you'll need, again, 8 of the 6.5 by 13, 8 of the, in your background print, 8 of the 6.5 by 29 inch, and you'll make your sandwiches. You'll attach the long ones to the 7s, the short ones to the 3s. Go ahead and attach this to the center and this one to the center, just like so. And if you'll notice, I did hold my seams open when I attached, okay? So my attached lines show. It shows it here too. And we're going to talk about how I cut this up in a future clip. But I just want to give you the background on exactly what you're doing. So let me finish up all the other parts, and then I will show you the next step. So I'll see you guys in just a sec. Okay, so when you're done, you should have 2 of these, okay? And remember the 16-inch blocks? Yeah. Those are what we're going to attach to these shorter strips, and they will go along the top and the bottom. Just remember, it is always a 1/2 inch seam, and it is always back sides together. So you'll line these up. Now when you do this, what's really nice is we don't have any seams to match, okay? So you're just going to simply sew your 1/2 inch when you add it and back sides together. And I do have a directional fabric. I have a lot of them, right? So you need to make sure when you're attaching, another tip, pay attention to whether or not you want it this way or this way, okay? Along with your blocks of your 16-inch, just be sure that you are adding the block the correct direction. Once you get those sewn together, what you're going to do is you're going to add it to the top and the bottom. So I have actually added this to the bottom, okay, using a half-inch seam, okay, back sides together. And again, you'll want to pay attention to the direction of this strip and the direction of your main quilt, okay. So I added this one to the bottom. Now these ones do have seams that match, but because they're so thick, it really does make it easy. But I will pin on the left and the right of this. Let me see. Let's go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and flip. Well, I can't because I don't have that one done. But once it is finished, I will add it to the top using the back sides. And when I use these, I will flip them open and I will pin this open, lining up that seam, because it's very easy to do when these things are thicker like this. Okay, so just pay attention to that when you go to do it. Those are the only ones. And a little tip too, this side only has these seams that will be exposed, and this side has this. These don't match to anything, but they do. You want to make sure that they don't flip. So I would encourage you to sew it so that this is on top, so you can see all of the seams to make sure they don't flip. And then on the back side, you'll just need to pay attention to make sure that the needle plate doesn't flip it when it goes under. But that's the tip for that. So I'm going to get that done, and I will be back at you in just a little bit with the next step. Okay, everybody, we got 3 steps left. 3? Yes, 3. So once you have all your pieces connected to your quilt and you're getting it, you got it all pieced together, the next step is called the victory lap. Whoop, whoop. And all we're going to do is simply all the way around, we're going to sew a 1/2 inch seam, okay? All the way around the quilt. That's your victory, because you are finishing it up, lap, for this next step. Now I will tell you, the best thing for you to do as a tip is to put the back side down, because we don't have any open seams. So as you cross these open seams, you will be able to make sure they stay open and that you don't flip them with your foot pedal. So I'm going to go ahead and now make sure also that you're clear. This is kind of a big quilt and you probably will experience some drag if you don't, you know, keep it on your lap or whatnot. But I'm going to go ahead and get this done, and I'll see you guys in just a sec. Just to let y'all know, I did a back stitch at the beginning and the end, and I'll do that to each side. I go ahead and pull it all out instead of trying to pivot, and I will just simply start on another 1/2 seam. And you see, this is a lot to wrangle, but this really is the last sewing step. And I just caught the microphone inside the quilt. That's always fun. So I simply just cut threads, and I'm just going to start again on a 1/2 inch seam and get the next side done, and that's all we got to do. finished. Now for the next step.
Okay, so we got the whole thing stitched all the way around, so the victory lap is once again complete. So let me show you what we do next. Now we're going to begin the rag process, okay? And I will tell you that I do have a pair of Fisker snips. I actually think they're called rag quilt snips. I'm not really sure. I will definitely put a link below for you if you're interested in this. We do not carry them in the shop as of yet, but these are what they are. And the reason I like them right now, they're closed, so that is a safety feature. You can open it up and they automatically stay open. So when you cut, it springs back. That's going to help with your hands because there's an awful lot of snipping that we got to do, but it will help with your hands so that you're not forcing it to close and causing it to open and close with your hand over and over and over. It automatically just springs open, okay? So I'm going to pull you in a little closer. I'm going to show you how I snip for the rag process just to get it started. Okay, so as you see here, we do have the stitching for the ½ inch going all the way around. And I just simply, I'm going to make sure I stay in the camera here. I just simply take my snips. I'll do one here in the corner. Sometimes I go ahead like this. We can just do this now. What you want to be sure is that you do not snip the seam. Okay, you want to stay away from the seam. And you're just going to go, I don't know, 1/4 inch or so all the way around, staying away from all your seams, okay? In these little corners, I go ahead and snip them about half of it, making sure to stay away from that seam. And it helps if you put your finger on the back where the seam is so that you can feel it and you don't want to capture any of the seams because it'll make it come all undone. And then you're just going to simply keep going all the way around. Okay. And when we get to, somewhere in here where we've got a lot of seams, you just kind of play with the idea, whatever floats your boat. Just stay away from the ones that keep everything connected. All right. I'm just going to go ahead and actually, I'm going to leave that one open. We'll see what that looks like. And here we go. Let me flip it around. Remember, keep your finger on the back side so you know where that seam is and you don't snip it. But you're just going to go every single seam, guys. You're going to want to do this. I'm going to flip this around. I think it just make it a lot easier to show you for myself instead of trying to be a little crazy. So I got my finger on the back side and I'm just simply snipping. Every 1/4 inch to 3/8 to 1/2, I don't know. It doesn't have to be consistent. It's all going to rag in the end. Okay? And you're just going to want to keep on going. So that is the beginning of the rag process. You're going to, like I said, every single exposed seam, you're going to want to go around and clip. And this will take you a little while. The final step to get that rag really going is to wash the quilt. I personally wash it on cool. I don't do hot and I don't do cold. You could do cold, it's fine. But I do a cool and I do a light dry. Now, some people put their quilts into like a lingerie bag or a laundry bag that's netted because it helps keep the threads that are going to come loose from getting into your trap. If you have one, I do. It's a holy mess when you have dogs. But it prevents some of those threads from clogging your machine, your washing machine, and possibly your dryer. I don't. I just throw it in there and wash it. So I'm going to work on my clipping and I will come back at you in just a sec.
Whew! It's all snipped. The only thing left to do is wash and dry. All right, but as I mentioned before, it's probably going to wait until Friday, you know, to be able to wash this. And like I said before, I won't be on Facebook Live today at 3 p.m., but Thursday, all things clear and working well with that. That is the plan. It is not something I can control, so I apologize for that. However, we will plan for Thursday at 3 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, my time here in Virginia. If I can't make it, again, I'll post that and let y'all know. Due to, you know, electricity, kind of have to have it. So, at any rate, I also, like I said earlier, won't be doing a video next week because of all this electrical stuff that's going on. But I will be back in 2 weeks with a new project. I might share in Facebook what fabric I'm going to be using, just to keep you abreast and what's going on. But when I do get this washed, I'll definitely post a picture, and I think I can even do it here on YouTube. But here she is, and it's over, and it's wonderful, and it's snuggly, and yeah, I can't wait to send this off as my gift. And I hope that you felt inspired. Don't forget to grab the supply list if you are so interested in how much fabric this took me, and all the different cutting that we had to do. And yeah, thank you all for stopping by. Until next time, may you all have power. May y'all have a fantabulous rest of your hump day. I will definitely see you soon, but until next time, may you all continue to be inspired, productive, ever so joyful, never stop believing, and never stop making your dreams in quilting come true. I love y'all. Happy quilting, happy hump day. Merry Christmas, because this was part 2. See y'all soon.